Hello, everybody. I'm Professor Julio Rezende from UFRN, University Federal of Rio Grande do Norte State. Also part of the Space Renaissance Initiative, international initiative. Also Mars Society Brazil, a member, and also organizer and coordinator of Space Analog Station Habitat Marte here in Brazil. Yes, and we are having a great moment of the opening of the Space Habitat event. We are receiving some colleagues in this opening ceremony, and also like Celia and Alfred and Frota and Ananda. Yes, participants from many countries in this moment. Yes, and this is a 4 days event. We are starting November 8th, and we'll be concluding the program Saturday 11th of November 2023. We are recording all presentations to be shared. The people can see later in YouTube, and everybody are welcome. And also we are very happy to start. This is the 4th edition of the Space Habitat event, and we hope that about the continuity of this event in the next years. Let's finger crossed about yes, and we hope that we had the possibility we had a great moment during this event. And also I'd like to say thanks to Mariusz. Let one moment. Yes, Mariusz is here, and we are having the great opportunity. Mariusz also has established, Professor Mariusz Moczak has also relationships, partnerships with University Federal of Rio Grande do Norte. And we had the opportunity to meet each other here in Natal, Brazil. And also he visited Habitat Marte Space Analog Station some months ago. It was very nice opportunity to see what we are doing in terms of space research in Brazil. And also a great moment to see the possibilities of interaction and intercultural perspectives in terms of space exploration. In this case, I will be read a little bit about the curriculum of Professor Mariusz Moczak. He's a Polish-Canadian violinist. He studied in New York and Montreal, where received the master's and PhD degrees. He is currently active in concert activities. He's also performing in important theaters like Carnegie Hall and Fisher Hall Lincoln Center in New York, Place des Arts in Montreal, Union Hall of Rotterdam, and other theaters. As a soloist and chamber musician, he has performed at many international festivals in China, Brazil, Switzerland, Spain, Ukraine, Serbia, Slovakia, and other countries. Also, he has performed as a soloist with numerous orchestras around the world, and also participating in the recordings for radio, televisions, and also media. And also he's a founder and artist director of several music festivals in Poland, Canada, United States, Brazil, and Italy. Okay, and doing lectures in many universities around the world. Thanks so much, Professor Mariusz, to stay with us in this opening, in this great moment, bringing your talent and your brightness to this very, very grateful moment. Thanks so much. Yes, you are welcome to introduce you and also present more points about your talk.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from New York this time. My name is Mariusz Moczak. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you very much, Professor Rezende, for inviting me. I'm very honored. and I don't know even if I belong here. You know, I mean, I'm a musician. I'm a performer. You know, I'm someone who actually travels a lot, and I perform on few continents a year. So I'm jumping from one place to another, and sometimes I'm very close to cosmos, to space, right, on the airplanes. So in a way, you know, astronomy is one of my hobbies. I mean, I love to read about it, you know, seeing movies about it, talk with people about it, and it's been always very close to me. The astronomy, the you know, the space exploration, and so you know, I'm a musician, so I'm not an artist. So you will hear a lot about me talking about myself. So I apologize because you know, we artists actually we this we are the tool. You know, we have to understand what we are, and trying to understand, I mean, in a way, you know, looking in deep inside us to bring it something beautiful, something nice, and something truthful. So the topic of the talk broadly is about space performance, or performance in space, music performance in space. I mean, I didn't know exactly what to do here, and I still don't know. But you know, the thing I want to maybe share with you, some with my colleagues around the world, you know, the maybe the need of music in space, or the need of arts in general in space, and how it is important to have these kind of activities in the space. First of all, I have no idea how the you know, space exploration will look like, and I have. I mean, we all read about it. You know, some stuff. How, you know, the, let's say, the Mars. Let's say the you know, the pioneers on Mars will look like, what they would do, and we can imagine. Of course, we can prepare for it. And I'm so glad also, when I was in Natal this March, when after all those concerts, we had 10 concerts, we had the Szymanowski Festival at the Natal, and then I went to for Sunday to the Mars Habitat. It's like a 90 minutes Uber drive from Natal. Like, it's really in the continent. So it was really a very nice. I don't know how many of you have been visited, but you know, if you're in the neighborhood, I mean, in South America, it's really worth visiting. And I was impressed by the, you know, by things that were going on there, and then by the very warm welcome, very nice meal, and one of the most striking things. Also, I was in the suit, you know, the kind of I mean, fake suit, right? But and I was playing violin on different sides. They were actually recording me, so I have kind of I just tell them, listen, guys, but you have to understand, I am the first violinist on Mars. And they all agreed. Okay, so we have agreed that I'm the first violinist on Mars, and I was happy with that. And I showed these pictures on my Facebook and to my friends, and they were saying, well, Mariusz, but this is fake. I said, why is fake? Because your hands are not in gloves. You had the hands, you know, outside of your gloves, and you would not be able to survive. I said, you catch me. You know, that was a fake. So this is one of the challenges, you see. I think that that musicians will face in the space, and I think that's you know, something that also I remember Professor Rezende, if you remember, when you know, in that latitude, it's very dark. It gets very quickly, yeah. In the there's sun and there's dark very quickly. And I remember with you when we were visiting the campground. This is quite a large place, and then at the end it was very dark, and then you said, okay, let's look at the things, you know, the cosmos. We can see something happening, and maybe we're gonna see the International Space Station falling by. And I said, yes, why don't we look at it? And we actually saw something resemble that. And then we look at the Mars. It was Professor, you told you, so this is Mars. So I was in a Mars habitat looking on Mars. So that was a kind of for me, you know, very interesting emotion there. Because what I'm saying is that, you know, the music music exists in all cultures, right? Music exists in all cultures, in all continents. This is not only Western music. We have, African music. We have South American music, Aboriginals in China, in every in Australia, in every habitat there is music. Animals, they have music, and usually the music is about communication. The music, it's about sound, about communication, and also a communication about feelings, right? And then so for me, um, you know, I imagine, I could only imagine how difficult would be for the astronauts, for cosmonauts, to be in space in a confined environment, and let's say, to be like that for many months, maybe years, and how many emotions will go through their heads, how many fears they will have, how many things that close to death, let's say, also. So I presume that for them, having something that they will also enjoy, and also get the stress level down, and maybe connect with the planet Earth, would be one of the things, would be through music. So we had already in the, we're talking about space exploration. Usually we see all those pictures with the ISIS, right, International Space Station, and orbiting, low orbit. But I think what Professor Rosenda is, I think, pursuing now with the Mars habitat and other activities, it's more or less having, let's say, people on different planets, right? Like building some kind of colonies or settlements, and then how they would behave in those kind of habitats, people. So it's very little actually I could find on internet that just talk about, let's say, arts in the space, or music in space, because everybody's talking about now, like basic stuff, yeah, like how to survive, how to survive in space, how to actually get another day, how to do all those scientific experiments, and definitely there's like this Maslow pyramid, right? The needs of people, let's say the basic needs, survival. You need to have a food, you need to have oxygen, you need to have something, and then more and more, more sophisticated needs are coming up. But the first one had to be kind of fulfilled. So, like on the top of those needs, also the emotional needs, right? Belonging, and also the how our mind works, what we need. So for me, it's very important to point out that that music can also help people to survive in space, and survive for a long period of time. And maybe I could play something just to show you what I mean about transmitting emotion. Because I'm a violinist, yeah. I'm not a talker. I play music. I enjoy doing this. I'm celebrating this year 50th anniversary of my artistic development. So because I started violin when I was 7 years old, and now half a century later, here I am. But still learning every day, right? This is a very, even I Google now the most difficult instruments to master, and violin is one of them. I mean, it's like really the top. And this is really, something that I'm, always trying to master. So I will play a little bit of Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, for you. And I just want you to, if you can feel any emotion, even through Zoom, through bad connection, and maybe you can feel something. I'm gonna tune in violin first a little bit. Okay, just a few seconds. So this is a first movement of the sonata by Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, in G minor. It's called Adagio. And for me, when I play this piece in a concert environment, or maybe in the church, or for some other people, and the whole, the whole piece, it's, let's say, 20 times longer. I feel the vastness of space in this, the vastness of space, the infinity of space, and also maybe an infinity of spiritual space, because Bach was very much interested, he was faithful Christian, and he was very very much involved in the composing, and also for the church and for other people. But he was a genius, right? He was a German composer who lived in 17th century. But he also understood the power of music and the healing power of music. That's what I'm getting at. So for me, in the microgravity, let's say, if people would be living on the spaceships or on other planets, which is a different environment, right? So definitely they would need to maybe develop new instruments as well. Maybe they can bring some instruments from the planet Earth, but definitely they would need to develop some kind of new instruments. And I hope not only those electronics, something like on the computer or something. I hope there would be something physical they can actually touch, because I think that's one of the key issues about performing, is that you feel the vibrations of an instrument. When you play. I'm sorry to that we can't be in one room, but maybe one day we can be in one room. So you can actually feel the vibrations, of the instrument when you play. I feel the vibrations, the strings that vibrate. So I feel like a bit closer. So I presume also, like, people who are maybe in the, let's say, on a spaceship, were just like very kind of, like no batteries, nothing, like no almost like sound only of the, of some machines going on, and they I'm sure they feel alienated at some point. So they of course they can listen to music on their speakers or something, but maybe even like the next step would be that they actually can be even trained in on planet Earth during the preparations to play some music to help them out, to help them during this trips, because as I said, we are touching many different aspects of the human being, and of the complexity of human being, and the society as it is. So as I said about instruments, let's say in the Western world, we have instruments, let's say in a symphony orchestra, from different groups, and they're actually coming from really far away from the really ancient times. So we have the wind instruments, let's say they blow the wind. We have string instruments that they use, let's say bow. We have brass, we have percussions, and everything around this. So I think people who will be in the space and flying, they would also kind of need this, maybe looking at the different instruments that they could actually love to play and do it. We can also point out a very kind of recent stuff would happen on ISIS, International Space ISIS, when Chris Hadfield, the Canadian astronaut on ISIS, he recorded David Bowie's Space Odyssey. I don't know if have anyone saw this by Chris Hadfield, who was actually was a hit on internet, and you can actually see him playing a guitar and looking out the window on planet Earth, and it was very interesting to see him performing. And you can actually see that he could actually had to struggle a little bit, because what happened, that the gravity is different, so the performance would have to be a bit different, because instruments, we need to feel gravity to handle instruments, right? But putting the gravity a bit aside, the idea, I think, behind this Chris Hadfield idea was to show the music is important in space, and that actually making this video relaxed him, and he can actually bring something back to Earth to people who would be doing this. So for me, it was also an inspiration to do a project I want to share with you. This project had happened 2 years ago. We had because I'm Polish Canadian, so we had when I was a kid, I was reading a lot of Stanisław Lem science fiction stories, books. I enjoyed them very much. And I was dreaming with Lem, flying, and then all those civilizations. And he was like, multi-level scientific writer. So it was very enjoyable. And 2 years ago, 2021, it was a 100th anniversary of his birth. So I have commissioned a special piece from my friend Robert Nattau, who's a professor at the Toronto University, and a piece for two violins, piano, and some electronics, and a lector who was reading the verses of Lem. And when I received that piece during the pandemic, during the really deep pandemic, the 21 April. I was crying when I was playing this piece first time. I was really crying because it touched me so much, and I had already an idea when I was really seeing the first that this piece could be also shown in the space. This could be shown in space on the ISIS, and there's also with Chris Hadfield inspiration. So look, guys, I don't want to talk about this too much, but it actually happened. It actually happened. It took a lot of emails and perseverance and actually this was shown on ISIS. This piece we received 1 hour of unedited and never published footage from the planet Earth. We put it that kind of collage with the music that we have, and then we have also people are joining in. Hello, everybody. So the next one was Pasquier, Tom Pasquier, the French astronaut. He was like doing a intermission, like 2 minutes. He was talking about the arts in the space, and then the music started. Our music started, and I'm very proud of this. It was like a very life-changing project. You can actually see it on the internet, on YouTube, and I sent it to Professor Rezen, the link. I don't know if you can share with people this, or maybe you can play a clip from that performance.
I can share right now the presentation, okay? Or the YouTube page. One moment.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the International Space Station, the outpost of humanity in space. We're using cutting-edge technologies all around me in our zero-gravity laboratories, so it kind of feels like living in a science fiction movie sometimes. This year, Poland celebrates the centenary of the birth of Stanisław Lem, an author and futurologist, and quite simply, one of the most widely read science fiction writers in the world. He gave us masterpieces such as Solaris and The Invincible. Stanisław Lem was truly a visionary through both his fictions and philosophical essays. He touched upon so many diverse topics such as artificial intelligence, the development of the internet, the widespread use of robots, and even contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. He described well in advance a future in which computers are widely used, and he had the imagination to describe interstellar travel. And while most of his novels were about missions to the stars and exploring planets, what was really at core was the journey of humans thrown into the unknown, struggling with human nature and its limitations. This resonates with me deeply as we're preparing to go back to the moon, and as I'm convinced that we will witness humankind's first steps on Mars during my lifetime. Today, from the International Space Station, our first major outpost on the shores of the cosmic ocean, we greet readers of Stanisław Lem's books around the world and all lovers of science fiction. This station, orbiting 400 kilometers above your heads, is a mere step on the exciting path ahead of us, the great adventure on the interstellar trails. This journey will be made thanks to people who pursued careers in science and technology, because they read and watched science fiction. This journey will be done thanks to imagination, dreams, and ideas that raise from them. So let's keep dreaming and pozdrowienia.
$20 000 miesięcznie. Tyle zarabia specjalista od sztucznej inteligencji. Czym zajmuje się taki specjalista?
We don't hear the music.
Sat down on the concrete edge, lowered my head, and saw the stars reflected. I did not want the stars. I had no use for them. Why? And I then realized that man must be ordinary, completely ordinary. And otherwise, it is impossible and pointless to live.
Yeah, somehow the music is missing.
Right. I think some, maybe it's too much. But you know, Professor Rosenda, maybe you can share the link with everyone. Hello.
Yeah.
And because we don't hear the music now, unfortunately. Hello.
And Mariusz, when you were apparently playing too, there were we didn't hear your violin. It was, you know, other than a little bit of the tune-up, but we didn't hear any of the Bach.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was, I was worrying also about it. Something with the Zoom connection, that it's not the perfect connection.
Yeah, maybe certain frequencies or something. I don't know.
Right. But you know, maybe we can stop this because this we actually missing the most important part of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. But
music.
with the link, we can get it later.
Yes, Professor Rosenda, are you there? Hello. You see, that's what
I think the professor is muted, maybe.
Oh, he's muted. Okay, so
Maybe.
it's well, it's about 10 minutes long, this video. But with music is much nicer, though.
Yeah, of course.
Where you based now? Where you are from? Where you now? I mean, you have a.
You're talking about me?
Yes.
I'm in Italy. I'm in Italy.
Oh, are you in Italy? Okay. Hello,
Yes.
Italy. Which part of Italy?
I'm. You know where Lucca is? The city of Lucca in Tuscany.
Tuscany, right? Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So I'm very close to the city of Lucca in Tuscany.
Nice. That's a pretty nice place on planet
Yes,
Earth.
I like it quite a lot. That's why I spend so much time here. Yeah.
Looks like we.
You know, maybe while we're talking, or while apparently this is going on.
Hardly
Wait.
changed at all.
Wait a minute.
Destination.
I hear voices but no music.
Indifference.
I hear a voice over, no music.
Long since disappeared to us because we had gone deep into its arms. And then that white point of light, that giant star,
Let's see if we can get
was what it had seemed.
the professor to stop it so that we can talk a little bit, because
Ability revealed its true meaning.
let me explain to him on the chat that we can't hear.
To the indifference
We cannot
the universe.
hear the music
That no one is ever able to accept.
at all.
But this is weird, right? Guy, because there's an actor, but the music is cut. Because
Hear the violin.
Hello. Are you not listening the music?
no, we can't hear.
No, we can't hear it.
We can hear it. We can't.
There's no music. There's no
Yeah.
music.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
I hear the music in my head
So-
because.
So, Professor Rosende, if you give us the link after this, just send it email. We can all then listen to it later.
Okay, sorry about, because I was listening, but for some problem to share the screen.
Yeah, and also, Professor, just so you know, when Mariusz started to play the violin, we could not hear. I could not hear it either. As soon as he started playing it, it stopped. I heard no music.
Right.
Strange. Let us see here what is let's say configuration of audio.
I think the audio was on. Well, let's see, but just something about I don't know, the connection seems to block.
Okay.
Mariusz,
yeah.
play again your violin, please.
You want the violin again?
Yeah, let's try that. Okay, just parts. We can only hear part of it. Just certain notes.
Yeah, you see, that's what happens. Actually, my violin actually went to space and came back. And
yeah, well, yeah. But I hope we can talk a little bit about this whole idea of music in space, because I think I find it's very refreshing, and it kind of opens up a bigger subject. So, Julio, if you well, okay, I just like to say this is refreshing to hear about, and it really speaks to the fact that living and working in space is for everybody. I mean, we're talking about not just musicians, but postal workers, communication people, teachers, and so on, and also for other life forms, not only helpful life forms like plants and certain fungus and so forth, but animals like pets. I think that I mean, you have to be reasonable what you bring up. Of course, I don't think cows are going to make it, but my point is that all the things that enrich our lives here on Earth will be able to enrich our lives in space. And it's not just on Mars. I'm a Mars buff too. But there are ways. You probably heard of O'Neill cylinders. There are ways to live in rotating habitats,
right,
that with contained atmospheres and with so-called pseudo-gravity. And if you make the habitat, I like O'Neill cylinders because they rotate in counter revolution, and that keeps it stable. So the point is that there are various places and nodes in space where you can put these habitats, and you can control the climate, and you can have a contained atmosphere, but everything must be recycled, and there can't be any waste. It's got to be turned into products. All these things that have to happen are going to take people that specialize in different things. And as our invited Mariusz Moczak, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly at all, but as you're saying, it can't be a sterile life up there. People will go nuts. So music has got to be a really big part of it.
Right.
Why not?
Yes. Yes.
So it's very, very refreshing to hear you.
That's what I want to bring. This topic to the conversation. I mean, you guys are scientists, and you talking about real stuff, like how to live outside of our our planet and explore the space, the cosmos, and it's extremely. I mean, I think also we can point out something that we all went through recently, like this pandemic disaster. The pandemic. So we were confined, sometimes to our homes or to our spaces. We couldn't go outside. I remember when I came back from Canada to Poland. I had to be like quarantined for 14 days in a separate apartment. I couldn't leave. I felt like prisoner, but I had my violin, and I had my I had my chess. I had, of course, my phone and everything else, but I had my violin, so I could actually do stuff in a confined environment that I enjoyed a lot and kept me sane. You know, I didn't go nuts. So I was like, you know, what I mean, it's you know, we see also those like scientific movies or science fiction movies and in space that they actually go through a lot of turmoil usually people who are outside. So for me, music is one of the key issues of communicating the emotions that we have inside and kind of going outside. It's called catharsis, also from the you know from the Greeks. Catharsis, you know, that kind of you know we are you know very emotional beings. So we need to also like we have an emotion inside, but you know if we can kind of get this emotion out or name it or it's itself it's a healing process. And the music it's a very much it's a powerful tool to do exactly that, to heal our inner you know beings. And I think that this mental fitness, you know, mental alertness, it's I think crucial for the special for the space exploration. And maybe training astronauts or train people who conquer other worlds in music that they can actually play physically an instrument can help them somehow to cope with all those issues. Not only, let's say, have a you know good diet and exercise and this and that. Of course, that's basic, right? That's what they have to do. But on top of this, it I think would be one of the points. Maybe and I think now I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I mean, just this communication with you know with what music can actually do because you know imagine a world without music. You know, let's say with you guys when you listening this to this or maybe sure, imagine world without music on planet Earth, how it would look like. Okay, nowadays we are bombarded by music from every corner. You know, you listen to a video on YouTube, on TV. You go outside, you listen, you go to a store. You always hear the music. You know, there's something going on. You know, 99% is bad music, but you know, the 1% is good. But what I mean, it's just there's always bombarding by music. But you know, of course, it's like a passive way of listening, and you know, I mean, you don't even you know see it that way. But what I'm saying is like performance in space or performing it actually gives you a different perspective also of listening and seeing how it works. You know, I also
Well,
thought adults because usually we say, oh, you can actually teach other people how to play when they are kids. Of course, it's the best time for them to learn because their brain is developing and everything. That's the best time. But you can actually start playing music when you are older. I remember my oldest student was 64 years old. He was a rabbi, and so I doubled the you know the fee, and because I wanted he said I was dreaming all my life to play music violin. I said, well, of course, you know who is not dreaming to play violin, yeah. And then and he started to play, you know, and you know he had some success. I mean, it was difficult for him to learn certain skills, but he was practicing and he was getting better and better. But what I mean is just it's really any time is good. I mean to start to play music, and I think it would be also a healing. It could be a kind of you know so spiritual. You know somehow people are spiritual. And what I'm saying is that if I can imagine the hardships of people being in space for a long period of time, it would be really, really difficult for them to sustain. I'm not talking about 1 year, 2 years, like 10 years, maybe forever. You know, and so I think making playing music could be also one of the you know of the of keeping people you know communicating their thoughts, you know, their feelings, their
I,
and
if I could add a little bit, I think it goes beyond healing. Can you hear me? Oh,
yes, I
yeah, I
do.
guess so. Okay. I think that it's important for humans to thrive,
Right,
and it's not, and you, it's hard. You cannot thrive without some joy in your life. And I think that music, both playing it and listening to it, can bring joy to your life and healing, of course. But even more important to thriving is joy.
right.
So I think that is something usually not talked about at all. And I think you make a good point I belong to the National Space Society, and every year there's the International Space Development Conference. It's usually a bunch of engineers that show up, and not always. There are all others, of course. I'm not an engineer. But I think you would be a good addition to that conference, and you do travel around anyway. So I'm going to, if you send me your email address afterwards, after this, I will. Well, actually, I think I have it now because of this invitation. I'll get you connected, and
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you know, I have to tell you that I can only have a few more minutes here, so I just wanted to kind of get that in before I have to leave.
Right. Right. I mean, if I would be, if I could be of any help, it would be wonderful. Thank you very much for this possibility. I mean, I think bringing artists into the process, of thinking of talking about, planning, space exploration. I think it's very important, and also that's why also I brought this video into the conversation that was shot with Thomas Pasquier, astronaut in space on ISIS. He talks about artists. He talks about the imagination. He talks about that we have to imagine something. And artists, by the definition, they should have a lot of imagination, right? They should have an imagination. Now, you are
one hopes.
Toscan in a beautiful, hills and surroundings, and piece of art from from ancient times. And that's imagine this without artists. I mean that's what I remember doing. I'm coming back to the pandemic. I remember people were talking about how it was difficult for performing artists during that time because we couldn't work. Actually, we couldn't perform. Everything was closed. But people are saying, listen, guys, but you look how our pandemic moment would look like without artists. Without books, without paintings, without movies. Without I mean, content. I mean, this is really it's kind of that we get this for granted. So what I mean also about like performing, I mean, or making music in space or on other planets. I think it's also important to see that this kind of moment that we are living now is very recent. That we can actually hear music pre-recorded, right? We can listen to, let's say, Beethoven's symphonies if you want, like in 2 clicks. 5 seconds you can hear it. That, or you can imagine in time of Beethoven, we see it was the Fifth Symphony was performed in front of 200 people only. In Vienna, as a premiere. 200 people heard this Fifth Symphony by Beethoven. He himself, poor thing, wouldn't hear. He couldn't actually enjoy this music, but and then it was just forgotten for some time. People couldn't actually hear the music so often. They could maybe they could also they play their own instruments. They could also go to concerts if there were something going on. But what I'm saying is that maybe those pioneers in space, maybe they could also somehow get this feeling of creation through also creating something on their instruments. And I think, let's frankly speaking, I think the majority of people would be creating music with electronics, with the modern, let's say, new instruments, right? Nowadays, also kind of very fashionable to have, let's say, old, like this is not a Stradivari, but it's close. It's an instrument that it's based on the Stradivari shape, right? It was actually made in Cremona, but it's a more modern instrument. But what I'm saying is just that this kind of instrument, like very old ones, with the old, refinement, hundreds of years of developing, the perfect shape and stuff, nowadays it's also kind of, I could put this violin with some electronics, and then in this video you can actually hear the electronics join the party. Like you have two violins playing. Actually, I'm playing both violins, not because there was also for my daughter this music, but she couldn't come from Canada because of the pandemic and everything. But I put it 2 tracks in the like 2, and then was like so electronics on top of that, so we can actually hear like a new instrument, right? But what I'm stressing out also, and let's say as a performer, I enjoy playing violin because it gives me also a joy of holding something physical. holding something physical. And I think hearing the vibrations, and then I think that people who explore the cosmos, they have to understand also that we as human beings, we are part of this planet, right? We are part of this planet, for billions of years. The development of bioforms and everything, kind of connecting and everything, and so we are kind of really well suited to survive in this environment. Nowadays, we are doing a bit, we are not behaving nicely to the planet, and the planet will teach us in the lesson, I'm sure, for that. But the question is also that we are kind of really with how we behave, we are really suited well to this environment. But going to another planet with a different gravity, with different environment, different, everything different, right? It would be a complete, the humans would have to adapt as well if they want to survive longer, to have a civilization there in the future. So I think the arts, the music, as I'm a musician, so I think it's very, very important to actually bring, as you mentioned, joy, fulfillment, then, and also the joy, the mission that they will actually sustain themselves in the direction. So they will, they will actually feel that what they do is important. And then because I'm sure that there's the scientists, people who are in numbers, in everything, can actually count everything. Of course, they are the most important guys to get, people, let's say, to the moon or to the Mars. But we are human beings, so we are also emotional beings. So to get ourselves in the right waves, with the environment, I think music is one of the tools to make it happen. And as I mentioned before, we have music also in the, as you mentioned, Professor Anzaldua. We have excellent musicians in the forest, birds. Bring birds to the moon, to the Mars. We have musicians, with insects, they're calling each other. Usually this is about courtship. It's about actually our music, 95%, of all the songs in music is about love, about, courtship, about making connection with, so let's say, in short, making babies, right? In the long run, to sustain. We need to have some kind of foreplay. Music is also a kind of foreplay very often. We can see that in the, when I was visiting Brazil, I'm planning to visit again in March. I hope to play a concert at the Mars Habitat, with special concert with Copernicus inside, because I'm playing a Copernicus project at Carnegie Hall in 3 weeks. So please join us on the 28th of November. I'm playing a whole concert based on Copernicus theme and about space exploration, space, cosmos. Some composers wrote music for that. So what I meant about about the performance, it's that it could also enhance people's environment. So I also, if I can make a just to close up my too long talk, I also urge all you guys to learn music. Any instrument you want, take a teacher. Go learn the music, and then I remember going to Brazil. That's what I want to mention. The Brazilians are so musical people. They have so much. They dance. They sing. They play. The music is everywhere. And they are, and maybe also they're very musical because apparently they're the mix of the genes of DNA. In any country in the world, the most people mixed are in Brazil. So from every corner of the world, and people are very musical, and then people, and also music brings them joy. But not only, let's say, passively hearing the music, but also making music with dancing, also with singing, with society, actually getting the vibes, together. So that's something that I think that will should be maybe discussed in the future, planning of anything in the space for real.
Yeah, I have a question for and or questions or comments from Celia. I'd like to ask to Celia also to complement our discussion and wonderful debate. Celia, what do you think about in your perspective, how the music is important for a good psychology experience?
Well, it's a very difficult question in the sense that we are thinking, no, our brain is on Earth, and we are the imagination as the habitat or the situation in Mars is the same. Does the music will sound the same? And I think, of course, music is very important for us. But what happens in the future? What happens when we are? No, my work is about adjustment, and I will talk a little bit about how our brain will develop in the future. And I think for us, of course, for us is indispensable. So I think for us it's very important that we have music, but how the music sounds or which type of music, because we will have probably recorded music. I don't know the sound outside again, and I think we need to find a compromise between now and the future. No, this is what I want to say to you. But okay, I hope your question is answered.
Yes, thanks. Also, is a good words to complement the think presented from Alfred. Yes, I believe it's very important for a good psychology experience. Also, I'd like to mention that we can see the three kinds of persons that are engaged with music, like the composers, also the practitioners, like all the executors of music, and also the consumers of music. I believe are different experience, and I'm commenting this because when we are bring when I bring this discussion today, the linkage between the music and space, we can see like some more scientific perspectives how the music can be important to bring a good mood, a good psychology experience in space. I don't know. I never saw some studies about how the music can contribute to a good relationship, a good to create a good bonds between the members of a space mission. But in analog missions, space analog missions has a great contribution to create a good mood, a good way to interact between the members. Also, music to celebration also, no, has a moment of celebration of party during a space mission would be nice, a nice thing too.
I would like to add something. No, it says that you a little bit a perception, or to be conscious. Of course, the music is very important for us, but maybe this the mood of the person in the situation. Also, the music is creating or is provoking some mood. And I think it's also to analyze. It's very important to analyze how the mood or could change with music. This is, of course, as a very important. But I think for everyone is very important, the music. We need to know now that what happens in this environment. No, this is, of course, the music for us, again, is very important, and then change the mood, could change, of course, change it. But also when you see, no, you are listening something you like and you are so far away from home, probably your mood is going down. Or no, this is about how affect music in your personal. But yes, the music changed your mood. This is
And I'd also point out something that what you mentioned. I mean there will be a lot of fear going on with with people far away from home, right? I can only imagine being thousands and thousands of miles kilometers from planet Earth, and feeling lonely, right? And feeling confined in small spaces. So I think music also can give you this perspective. Music is about vibrations, about space, and also maybe I want to bring something out. Maybe you can maybe contact these people. It's at McGill University in Montreal. where I lived for many years, they have a very sophisticated studies about how our brain works, you know, and then what kind of parts of the brain is actually working for
Of
what kind of.
course, and it's also
And
influencing the emotions. Of course,
what
yeah.
happens? They have found out that, you know, they were actually doing some experiments on my colleagues. You know, they actually I had they asked me to do some. I said no experiments on me. You know, not yet. But you know what happened? They had find out, you know, that our brain is most engaged, kind of the most busy. You know, and one thing that we do is, we know what's actually, it's the no other physical or mental stuff is actually engaging brain so much as playing a piano and sight reading, which is like playing and on with 4 lines at least. So this is the thing that I think also. So it could be as an exercise for people, you know, for people in astronauts to play piano, even, you know, just to exercise the mind. I'm sure there will be some, you know, because of the microgravity, that they could be some damage to the brain as well, right? Because, you know, the brain could maybe shrink or something. There will be some loss of the, you know, of synapses or everything. That has to be also maybe look at it. But I think that the even playing piano for astronauts could be as an exercise to keep the brain in shape, right? I mean, this is something that I think it just now came up to my mind. That could be, of course, we can talk about enjoyment and everything, but maybe, you know, there would be like half an hour, you know, treadmill, half an hour, you know, biceps, and then half an hour playing piano just for the brain, and then for the fingers, you know, for the motoric connection, you know, because you need to have a lot of precision to play an instrument, the violin. Let's say on the violin, I think violin may be less, I presume, less kind of chosen instrument in the future for the because of the difficulty of the instrument, also about the gravity that I don't, you cannot maybe hear, but you know, gravity that you need to kind of have a bow and the strings and everything. So piano is much easier, guitar maybe even easier, but you know, but physical instrument that we have to, or maybe drums, you know, something. But what I said about piano, really sight reading, playing, maybe it could be a good exercise for the brain, you know, for the future astronauts.
But
Or
for me, is well, this is idyllic, and I think when you can transport a piano in habitat, I think it's wonderful. No, the point is we need to think about what happens in this habitat. No, what is realistic, and I think if you can transport the pianos, perfect for our brain. Or all exercises in our brain is the best because the brain is the machine. But I think, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, but you it's a keyboard. You know, you need a keyboard. Maybe there's like those keyboards that you can actually make them very small. You know, so you don't have to like grand piano, you know, Stanway, you know, 7 feet long. No. I'm talking about maybe something that resembles. I mean, a keyboard. I think it's a small instrument in itself. So kind of like this size, let's say, more or less, right? So I think it could be over. You know, it could happen, but. You know, on a lighter stuff. So I think I have never seen actually a movie, like a science fiction movie, people playing instruments on spaceship. I like, I mean, actively. I don't remember. Of course, we all seen the Star Wars, right? And they had those. You know, some different species were playing, especially in a bar, so something, different instruments, and they're having fun and everything. But maybe that's what Professor Rezende was saying about celebrations. You know, having a celebration. You know, like you know, music is always also associated with some events in the human society, right? We have different music for weddings. We have different music for churches or for synagogues or for singing. We have different music for parties. Yesterday I was at my friend's birthday party in his house. You know, I was, you know, their music, and they were happy. You know, with drinking, and everybody was happy. So music was actually helping them to rejoice. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Is just maybe music performance could also help people to feel at home. You know, to feel that they are not lonely in the far away, you know, and then because I think there would be I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's maybe this could be an open discussion, with with people who are really into that, a lot. So, but I feel that this discussion could also help maybe see other aspects of human exploration, in space. So, anyway, that's what I said.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes, we are completing our 1 hour of activities and discussions about music and space. Professor Mariusz, thanks so much for your contribution.
Thank
Yes, okay. You can like 1 minute of music
But
to conclude.
but you can hear me. You can, yeah, you can't.
In my
It's just
computer, I can listen. Yeah, but
you listen. Okay, so maybe it just again, just the like. I don't
oh,
know, but
yeah.
But anyway, was really very nice talking to you, all you guys. Good luck with your with everything what you do, and be well and safe. And thank you very much for the invitation. I enjoyed very much talking to you. Sorry about about myself too much.
Okay,
All
thanks
the
so much. Let me
okay,
stop the recording.
okay.